Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. So how small businesses have responded to the pandemic has been something that I've been extremely interested in. I've done a couple of shows on that, and I wanted to reach out to an interesting couple that have bought a business in Durham. Leanne and Kirk are joining me tonight. They own something called R&G Auto Center. It's in Pickering. It's one of 22,000 small businesses across the country, across the province, I apologize, that have applied for and qualified to participate in an innovative program called the Digital Main Street Program. And so we want to find out a little bit about this. And maybe just to start with, it's Kirk Patty, correct? And wife Leanne, you bought this business that's been around for 30 years in 2006, correct?
Correct.
And tell us a little bit about the business. It's an auto business?
Yeah, it's an automotive business. It was my parents that started it, but I pretty much worked there from day one. I went to university and then came back and worked in the business with my folks.
So you bought it from your parents. So you've been around for most of those 30 years, probably.
That is correct. Yes.
Awesome.
Although I look a little younger than that, I think. But,
and then
we mainly do automotive repairs, and we also have a car and truck rental business as well. That is kind of a separate business, but within our business. So mainly fleet services. We do a lot of fleet services, and we've got customers that we're now dealing with their grandkids. So
excellent.
We've been around for a long time doing kind of the same thing, and I think we do it pretty well.
So why did you apply for this Digital Main Street Program?
Well, I'm going to let Leanne take that one because she's the brains behind that sort of thing. So I'll give that to Leanne.
I heard about it at a networking. I do a lot of the networking for the business, a lot of the marketing, networking, and all that stuff. And I was at a networking event, and one of the other businesses that were there was telling the group about it. So I looked it up and applied for it. And it was a little bit of a process to apply. Like, you got some papers to fill in, you have to watch some videos and whatnot. But after you do all that, they set you up with a personal assistant that can help you out with any questions that you may have, guide you in the right direction, help you create sort of a marketing strategy to use the money for. You had to come up with a budget and outline what you were going to spend the $2,500 on. And that at the end of the process, you had to give yourself a little report card at the end to see how much of the money you spent and where you spent it and allocated the funds. And in our case, we upgraded our operating system for the automotive repair garage. And we did a lot of Facebook marketing and advertising and stuff like that. And we spent the full $2,500 and then a little bit more, which was great. It just motivated us in a slow time to get out there and get our face out there a little bit more.
Awesome. And do you think the expenditure was worthwhile? Would you have spent it if it didn't come as a grant?
I think it was. Would I have spent it if I had to take it out as a loan? Do you mean, or do you mean would I have not spent the money if I didn't?
Yeah, or if you had to take it out of your kid's education or wherever else that you're going to spend $2,500 on.
I think it was the opportunity, because we got the grant, sort of motivated us in the right direction. So it was all things that we needed to do. But when you're busy and running your own business, you kind of get distracted by a lot of things, a lot of the day-to-day things. So during COVID, when we were a little slower and this opportunity came up and this extra money, which wasn't coming in, things were slow. It just was a great opportunity to motivate us to do some things that we should have been doing anyways, as far as, social media, digital marketing, and being more present on the internet.
And the Facebook ads, did you get a return on that, do you think?
We did. So we did a lot. I had set a goal of how many likes I wanted to get a month, how many follows I wanted to get a month. And we did, most of the time we did do that. It was great. We did a lot of more promotions and stuff like that, like just promoting our posts and stuff. And it really did help. I didn't allocate as much of the budget to that as I did towards, say, the upgrading the software and stuff, and hiring a social media expert to kind of help me create a plan and a schedule and a calendar for postings for Instagram and linking them with Facebook and just sort of teaching me how to do all of that stuff. So
Well, we
it was
know,
a great motivator.
we all know that, digital shopping has gone up dramatically, but how does one shop for a car repair shop digitally? Like,
Well,
the epitome of it's got to, the car's got to come into the garage, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for us, there was two streams for the digital Main Street program. So it was for people for shop. They had a program for shop local. So it helped people to boost their online e-commerce. And for us, it was more about presence. It was more about improving and promoting our online presence. We traditionally, because it's been a business that's been around for so long, we really just relied on word of mouth and referral. So we didn't have a very strong online presence. So the digital media and the training and the help that they gave us really helped us to do that. So
Give me a sense of what some of that training was.
So I had a gentleman call and check in with me every couple of weeks to see if I was putting my posts together, if I had any questions about how to run any of the online platforms out there like Instagram or Facebook. He would check in and give ideas about, well, this would be a great idea for a marketing campaign, for example. Kirk has great ideas for, how to sell different services that we do. And the person that was helping me was just helping me put together some sort of marketing package around stuff that I don't know a lot about, which is the marketing and cars, really. That's Kirk's department.
So in addition to the 2,500, you got some sort of consulting advice for free.
That was included in the package, right? That was part of it. They wanted you to do some online training. So you had to watch the YouTube videos and check off that you did watch the videos. And so it really encouraged you to learn what you were doing. They didn't just hand you the money without any, you had to put the time in, definitely, but it was worth it.
I sort of think that the car repair business has got to be the epitome of the, get a good recommendation from someone else. It's word of mouth kind of business because, trusting that car mechanic to do a good job. And everyone hears stories about being told that you need a whole bunch more things fixed than really need to be fixed. How do you duplicate that in a virtual environment, that word of mouth recommendation that your husband's a great guy and you can trust him?
I'll let Kirk answer the first part of the question about trusting how our business, we've promoted the fact that we're trustworthy and honest. But I think a lot of the stuff that we did with the digital media as well is we upped our Google presence. So they really showed us how to, when you do posting on Google and put pictures on your Google listing, how to request and send requests out to your customers to remind them to go give you a Google review and stuff like that. So our Google rating is really high right now and we got a lot more comments and stars and stuff on Google because we were encouraged to ask our customers to go and give us a good rating. And they all did. And they say right in their description of what their services were with us and what their experiences were. And and trustworthy, honest, integrity.
So that's interesting. One of the simple things is just ask people to write a review.
Yep.
Because a lot of people won't unless you ask them.
Yep.
A lot of people won't unless you ask them.
No, for sure. And they tell Kirk every day how great he is. So it was nice to have them put it on the internet so other people could see it. And I don't have to do it.
Well, that's great because the old line about the person that doesn't believe you the most that you're a qualified person is the wife. And so therefore it's nice that you get to hear it
We're usually the worst critic.
That's it. Just another comment you were asking about how like an online presence can help have somebody trust you. And it's not really about them reading the Google reference to say, oh yeah, we trust that person. It's more, we're depending on word of mouth and so forth to get our reviews. But if somebody asks them, like what's the first thing that somebody's going to do if you say, go see my buddy's garage, they're likely going to Google you to find out who you are.
Yeah.
And that just helps. So every little bit that pushes somebody in our doorway helps. So we're not really an online we don't do online commerce, but the online presence really helps our whole picture that we're trying to paint of the business.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. So, I know the successful guys that I know of around me, they join Rotary, they get involved in the community, they do a bunch of stuff like that. Do you do that, Kirk?
I do a lot of, I used to do a lot more of that stuff. Leanne actually does a lot of it now. She's involved in the Board of Trade and a couple other, so she's kind of taken over that role for the business. I still do a lot of, we have quite a few, quite large fleet customers. So I kind of stay in tune with our actual customers and sort of keep our relationships alive with those guys, and guys and gals. And Leanne is the one that would go to most of the networking and
How do you do that, Kirk, in a pandemic? You could have taken them out to lunch 2 years ago, but how do you keep close to those fleet people now?
You know what? These are people that have dealt with us for a long, long time. So, I mean, a lot of times it's just a matter of when they have a vehicle in their shop. A lot of times I'm not even dealing with them directly. It's usually their employees or whatever that I'm dealing with on a day-to-day operational side of things. But I'll make a point to make an excuse to have a call with them to say, hey, by the way, this is here, and how's it going? What's going on? How are things with you guys? It's just sort of keep in touch with them that way. And it doesn't take much, just a 5-minute phone call, even then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that guy. He's a good guy, or whatever it is, right?
It's nice too, because a lot of our commercial guys are small businesses like us, local in the area in Pickering. So they're all going through the same things. They're all experiencing the same issues with staffing, with drops in wages, with, pricing, everything with CAA, with payroll, with all of the stuff that's going on during COVID, with applying for grants, applying for the SUs and the SIRS and all the different, so you guys have a good group of guys that you guys talk, business owners that talk to each other on a regular basis about that kind of stuff. So it's nice. They're all in the same boat.
What's happened to your business? I think that there's been weeks that I haven't even used my car in the last year and a half. So, are people using mechanics a lot less than they would normally have?
I would say that definitely was a factor in.
It's very impactful.
Certainly we really felt that after Christmas, like January, February, which are predominantly slow months, but you're usually getting some more. That's when we really rely on our fleet work and so forth, and
safeties and inspections,
and that stuff just was, people weren't using their vehicles as much, and our retail business was really noticeably down. And every other person that you talk to is like, my car's sitting in the driveway. We have 2 cars, they're sitting in the driveway. I've driven 100 kilometers in the last month, and you can see it when they're coming in. Like, you can see, I mean, we record their mileages. So, I mean, our snow tire on and off season's a big part of our business. And I mean, the average of the person drove from, say, October, November, when they put their snow tires on, to April, was like 3,000 to 5,000 kilometers.
Was it worth putting the snow tires on?
Yeah, well,
we had some people that didn't.
Yeah, we had quite a
their
few
tires.
people because we actually do storage for.
So was your sales down enough so that you could apply to some of the government wage programs?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It was.
And were those programs helpful?
Very
Extremely
helpful. And you know what? I'll give credit where credit's due, and they did a pretty good job on making those programs equitable for small businesses,
and accessible.
Yeah. Because in a lot of cases, you'll find that they come out with these programs that sound great on paper, and then when you get down to the nuts and bolts of it, they're just not, and they're not very helpful at all.
Or you can't get it.
And you can't get it, or it's watered down, or it's a tax credit that you'll get in a year and a half when you file your 2021 tax.
Do you think the government should keep it going?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think it was good. It was suited what the need was as far as for, you know, the COVID businesses, and I think it was equitable to help the COVID slowdown for businesses on the whole. But yeah, I don't necessarily think they should keep it going. I mean, if you're not if post pandemic, if you're not a sustainable business, then you're just not a sustainable business. I mean,
Right. And so what do you think they should do? Back off of it, but if we get another wave in the fall or winter, bring it back, or what?
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah. I mean, shut the tap down and have the pipe still there ready to go if it needs to open back up again.
Leanne, if my numbers are right, 22,000 people made use of this digital Main Street program at $2,500 each. That's
Wow.
$55 million.
Wow.
Is that
That's
a good
amazing.
expenditure of government monies?
Well, from my personal experience, it was great for me. So I can't speak to the other businesses. You can actually go on YouTube. I don't know if you've done this yet, but they have Digital Main Street has a little YouTube channel, and they have testimonials from quite a few of the people that applied for the grant. And it's just a broad swath of different businesses, from hairdressers to bakers to people that were shut down during the pandemic, to people that had to shift their stores that didn't have storefronts anymore, that were now selling things out of their garage, to all sorts of different types of businesses that applied for and got the grant. And I mean, of course, they're always going to put the good news stories out there, but all of the ones that are up on the site it's amazing. They're all very grateful.
If this is good for business and it's a good investment, shouldn't you have done it anyway? Why does government have to pay you to do something that's smart for your business anyway?
Well, there's two parts to that. I think for the people that it slowed down completely, that they needed that money just to pivot and change the way that they were doing business. For somebody like me, who, you know, we were an essential service, so we never shut down, but it slowed down our business. It just gave us an opportunity to help our business moving forward. So now coming out of the pandemic, we have a social media presence, and we have a better operating system that is a touchless operating system. So it's before, where people would have to come in and pay, and we were printing off invoices and stuff like that. We're just now a little bit more sophisticated, and we are emailing and text invoicing and stuff like that, where we weren't doing that before, because we really, during the shutdown, people weren't allowed to come in. So they had to drop their car in the parking lot, put their keys in our key drop. We'd wipe everything down. They'd come and pick it up. They'd pay us over the phone. So this was a great opportunity for us to sort of make that transition a little bit better.
So sometimes government can actually help out.
In this case, yes.
They've spent money on worse things.
Yeah.
That's probably extremely true, Kirk. No question. So I got a really important question to ask you. Why are you called R&G rather than K&L?
Right?
Those are my parents' initials.
So when are you going to change it to K&L?
Well, it's been R&G for so long that
No, I don't think we could change it.
I don't know. I don't think that we ever will.
I just say it stands for really great. R&G Auto, really great automotive center.
Really great auto center. That's actually pretty good.
That's it.
You should,
Right?
you should trademark that. Okay, so you know you've spent $2,500 based on this government program on the digital Main Street program. You've put in a new operating system. You did a bunch of social media ads. You had a social media consultant. You had someone from the government that followed up. What's the future, do you think, of R&G, really great automotive business, in social media? You know, are you going to do more? Are you going to start a TikTok thing, or like what's the future, do you think?
Well, there's a lot of requests for that. I guess there's a whole stream on those social media platforms where people love videos of cars. Well, more cars getting cleaned and detailed. I think that's a big thing. But apparently a lot of people are very interested in seeing what their brakes look like before they get changed and after they get changed, and how bad their tires are, or whatever. There's a whole group of people that like to see that stuff. So maybe we will do that. Maybe we'll start taking little videos and get TikTok famous. It'd be nice.
Well, I have a buddy that just did simple things that he thought that too many people didn't know. And it was like how to change the oil, how to check your tire pressure, how to, you know, I can't
instructional stuff.
But, and kept them all like, you know, 2 minutes or so. And that was of a great deal of interest to people. And
great idea. We'd love to do something like that. It's a great idea. We have a great group of technicians that work for us that would be amazing in those videos.
So when are you going to start doing it?
I'm going to start on Monday. Oh, no, Monday's a long weekend. We'll start next week. Start on Tuesday.
What about you, Kirk? You know, your wife here has gone crazy with social media. What do you think? Has it made sense?
Absolutely. I'm in the background, but I'm very, I know what's going on, and she consults with me on a lot of this stuff. So she's the one that has time to do it. And I kind of take care of the operational side of stuff on a day-to-day basis. But yeah, I think if you're not doing that, then you're gonna be left behind. Like I think that's the way that you're gonna attract the next breed of customer, that you're not gonna attract them. Well, I mean, through word of mouth, but I mean, it's important to have that you can actually build that trust up online. Like we have a lot of, and I've found this just within the last couple of years, a lot of younger people and that have started to come to us, like
And
people
found you
in
through
their
social media.
Yeah.
100%. And
Kirk,
they're
are electronic vehicles coming?
sorry,
Are electronic vehicles coming? Are they going to take over the automotive business?
100% they are.
Are you going to become an electrical engineer rather than a car mechanic?
I think I might be out of the business by that point, but I think that's going to be a fight for the next R&G.
The young guys.
Yeah, the next R&G.
What about autonomous vehicles? Are they going to come?
100%. No question. It's just a matter of when.
Really?
I mean, it may be. I mean, this may be still 40 or 50 years into the future. It might be 20 years into the future. The technology is there now. Like it's not.
What's the most reliable car you want to recommend that people buy today that needs the least amount of your attention to it?
That's a loaded question because
like
people love their brands.
Yeah, like a brand new vehicle that you would purchase.
Yeah.
So like probably the most reliable manufacturer of vehicles on the market would be Toyota.
Really?
Yep.
Kirk and Leanne, R&G, the really great automotive company from Pickering, Ontario. Thanks so much for joining us and telling us a little bit about the Digital Main Street media program. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much.
Okay. Bye-bye.